I do something. I'm a mess right now, so.
Yeah, take a. You want to see if you can hear it?
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Calendar.
Okay,
She brings it up, or that's
Oh,
from
shit.
last week.
Yeah, she's probably.
Oh, don't.
Oh yeah, so these are from, this is from last meeting, and then this is the, it's a different format than we used before, but it's not.
Sure.
So the back she's got a zip, which is cool.
No, I love that. She also put up a voting article, which I appreciate because that saved paper.
Yeah. I should grab one.
Give you have a seat at the table.
I can take the vote, hopefully that, to get that thing handled. And then Luminaria, so if that's what you do stuff, feel free, or I can do it. No matter to me.
Let's say, you take the.
I'll take the special things
Yeah.
tonight. Good, all right.
Say the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah.
Right up front.
Nice. Wasn't my.
We got one. Ah, that's the best place to be here.
I guess that's just telling you.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Oh. Hang on. I had a hot mic, don't say anything.
Been a while.
It shows you right there, bro.
Zero. Okay, we can
You're
zoom
fun
in.
to say that.
I need to block it so I'm like,
It's fine.
Now the whole world will see me eating my dinner at a meeting.
That's.
What are you having?
we're all residents here.
Chili.
Leftover Delta cups.
Yeah. It's a Pleasant Ridge chili. We should have them cater our meetings.
Oh, chili
Is there a
cheese
budget?
fries for
Is there a budget?
Catering, yes, but we have to take it out of somewhere else, so it's either that or safety cameras.
Maybe like 50th on the
Let's
list.
eat.
Oh, that's
You're waving to thousands of
Anybody
people.
there?
zero.
Is anyone there?
No,
Oh,
thousands.
it's zero right now?
Yeah, but it'll
One,
say
zero,
it.
zero,
I
zero.
told Justin to log on, so we should have one.
I blasted it, so people have the link
Oh,
this
no,
time.
your guys' emails. Justin really likes them. I didn't tell him like that a
Thank you.
weekly thing was happening. He's like, he's doing that now. It's like, I gotta love that.
Oh, I got some fun stuff coming out on the quarterly.
Michelle, I'm so sorry about Monday the 11th at 4 p.m. We're kind of
Oh, no, my grandma's in the hospital. I'm
Oh my
totally
God. Okay.
distracted, so it's quite
All right.
I'm sorry to hear that.
She's okay. She's not against dementia, so like everything's
Yeah.
harder, but she had her lungs filling with fluid, so it's not comfortable. So we gave her a little drain thing that we can drain when it fills to keep her comfortable and
Good. Yeah, go take care of her. Yeah, we're good.
well, it was more like me relieving my aunt and my dad because they're staying around the clock. So I'm like, okay, I can get off work at 3 and stay till 9 to relieve you. So one of those. I tried so hard to get all of this on only 2 pages. So I made it really edited last month's meeting just to get it on a 1 page or heard one.
Yeah.
It was free. It was on, English half page, so I,
All right.
That was nice and loud.
That was exciting.
It didn't work.
No, yeah. All right, please just ensure that you have signed in. Oh. All right, team. Oh.
No AC problems now.
Oh, we're okay. Awesome. Figuring out what you got. All right. All right. It is 7:02. We're going to call this meeting to order. Let's go ahead. Just ensure that if you walked in, that you signs our sign-in sheet, attendance sheet. Let's go ahead and do the pledge of allegiance. Please, Jason.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. So you know, we are recording there. Can you angle it to possibly get the speakers down? Perfect.
Second?
I'm gonna cut you off.
Oh, don't you worry.
Okay.
Do you want to like span across the crowd?
Right. Just like a periodic crowd check.
Maybe so.
That's
Keep
next
you on
week.
your
We'll
toes.
have 2 views next week.
Okay. Is that mic live? Is it
Yes.
hot? It is. Okay. Officer Martin. We will start with the Cincinnati Police Department. So any updates would be greatly appreciated. And we have. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Thank you.
I was trying not to speak with the mic, but thank you. Don't speak with the mic.
Well, it will help with any online viewers.
No problem, no problem. Okay, we had quite a bit of auto thefts. And they were mostly Hyundais and Kias. And then we had a couple of other ones, but they were because people left their spare keys in the car, in the cup holder. So we don't want to do that, because then your car gets stolen. And we also had, theft from autos also, we've had, people leaving purses and AirPods and phones and wallets on the passenger seat or the back seat. And so the cars were broken into and those particular items were taken. So let's, not do that, especially now it's the holiday season and the criminals are gonna want stuff that doesn't belong to them so they can give it to people like they bought it. So we don't want that to happen. And then other than that, we don't have any other major, our issue is the auto thefts and the theft from autos. And then we had some identity thefts, and those are from actually family members and caretakers. So let's just keep mindful of our senior citizens that are in nursing homes and things of that nature. Make sure that they don't have any personal belongings out where somebody can get their information and take it and open credit cards and buy cars and things of that nature. So other than that, does anybody have any questions, concerns? Yes, sir.
For the Kia auto thefts, were they all part of the recall, that issue, or were they like left the keys in the car, left it running, or something like that?
They were part of the recall because there's still a lot of people that have not gotten their vehicles updated. And I don't know how they can tell. I don't know, but yeah, a lot of people haven't gotten those updates.
I think they just try it. They see it and they try it and it works.
And you're absolutely correct. They do. Yeah. Any other questions? So yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Why is it when I call the CPD about illegally parked vehicles, they show up and they have them move it? Why?
You said they have them move it or don't have them move it?
No, they have them move it.
Uh-huh.
I called 22 times from September 1st to October I'm sorry, 18 times from September 1st to October 22nd of this year. For the ability to park, where it says no stopping, standing, parking anytime, both ways, areas going both ways.
And you said they're moving the car?
No, is what happens, the officers get there and they go have them come out and move their car out of the spot. They don't take them or anything. Why?
Well, sometimes we like to give people grace. It just all depends on the
Okay.
situation and circumstance. I don't know, I wasn't the officer that responded out, so I don't know what particular situations those vehicles were, what issue they had, but now we don't handle the parking enforcement anymore. That's handled by our parking enforcement unit because of the complaints that the residents are giving, and we just don't have time to come out because we have the other runs that we have to
I
go to.
understand that, ma'am.
Mhm.
But, I mean, even, they don't come out after 5 PM because the parking enforcement stops working at 5 PM.
No, you don't.
They never came out then.
Yeah, they don't stop working at 5. It just depends on what district and what issues are going on, what events that they have. They all don't stop at 5. No, they don't.
Because this has been on for 3 to 4 years now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I apologize, but we like to give people grace. Now, if there's an issue where we're still going and the person is still parking in the same place over and over and over and over and over again, and it's up to the discretion of the officer. I don't like to give people tickets when I first meet them and I'm like, can you move your car? I'm not gonna give a person a ticket. Can I? Yes. Well, I know. I like to give people grace. That's me. So, but I don't know what the other officers are doing, and they may wanna do the same thing. We don't wanna ticket people all the time. It's expensive.
Oh, I understand that too.
I've been ticketed.
I
Wow.
mean, the thing.
Truth comes out.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like to give people grace. It just depends on the officer and situation, or get the officer's name and see what officer responded out, and you can ask that officer, why didn't you ticket the car? But that's an issue that we can talk about after the meeting, because it seems like you're very passionate about it. So I don't want to take up the whole meeting about the parking, but you can email me and I can meet with you privately and we can discuss it. I'm sorry, what street is it on?
World Avenue.
Just email me and we can discuss it. Is it a person that does it all the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, we can discuss
Actually,
it.
you know what? He's the one who owns the place that causes the parking issues.
So we
He
can,
parks the wrong way all the freaking time too.
well, we can discuss it after the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Just email me. Do you have my information? I can give you my information.
Let's move that to the meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's-
Officer Martin, anything else?
No, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
All righty.
All right, any representatives tonight from the fire department or engineering? No, okay. Pleasant Ridge Recreation Center, and a vote.
All right, how's everyone doing today? Good. Glad to hear that. My name is Kendall. I'm one of the community center directors here at Pleasant Ridge Recreation Center. First thing that's on the agenda, so we want to talk about our after school program. We still have openings at both sites. We run our site over at Pleasant Ridge Montessori. That runs that's $89 per week, and then here is $220 per month. So the kids, they do homework Monday through Thursday, and then on Fridays we have like a kid choice thing, so they can choose whatever activities they want to do. So we try to make it fun. We have art club, the UMC hot meal program, gym activities with the staff. And we try to make it fun for the kids. So if you need somewhere for your child to go or know someone who needs childcare, please send them our way. Also, we have our school day out mini camp for Thursday, November 25th and 26th. So that will go from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and the fee is $45 per day. Also, open play pickleball. That's Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So any questions? All right, sounds good. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Kendall. Okay, the Pleasant Ridge Library Branch member.
Hello, I'm Jennifer from the Pleasant Ridge Library. got some calendars over there for events going on in November and December. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. This Saturday at the main library is the Books by the Banks Literary Festival. There will be over 100 local and national authors. The event's totally free. Parking isn't because you're downtown, but if you haven't checked out the updated main library, this is a great time to do it. And there's activities for all ages, little kids, teenagers, adults. Also this Saturday at Kennedy Hayes Park, the Pleasant Ridge Library, so Eric is in the back and I will be leading our second to last nature in our neighborhood walk at 2:30. We just do a slow meander around the park and check out some of the great local nature that we've got. And then on December, it's the first Wednesday in December, we have a local historian coming and doing a presentation about like local and native foods that early European settlers and Native Americans would have used. It's sort of like a holiday celebration, but with a focus on native foods and herbs. So that's all ages, no sign-ups necessary. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna hop into executive committee reports. Obviously, we are off our regular schedule because of the election last week, and I think wherever you may land on that political spectrum, I'm not going to dedicate much time to this, but I know that it is. The signs are coming down across our neighborhood. I hope that this has not been too much of a ruffling between neighbors where we live. One of the things, I've had a couple of folks ask me about where on the council we are, and we are nonpartisan, we are non-political, we are volunteers to help improve quality of life within our neighborhood, and that is for all. And we don't check badges or affiliations at the door when it comes to who we support. So I think there is going to be healing in a way, and whatever that may look like on the other side. I know us on the council, along with our community leads and endless volunteers and city services, we will continue to take stock of what resources that we can pursue to support projects. We are usually beholden to the city, but we are not limited to what they offer. We can pursue what we can. But the landscape will likely be changing, but I think we have enough brave volunteers and smart leaders that we can co-craft what the vision might be moving forward. So I don't want to say we live in a bubble. Every now and then it can feel like that, but I think people look to community councils, particularly active ones like ours, and the volunteers that make it be, to help provide the hyper-local governance and guidance to realize what we want for our neighbors, our families, our businesses, and the lands that we all share. So that's been on my mind, and I think that I can speak for all of us that we do greatly appreciate the opportunity to serve, to co-create, and to make our place better. As far as our respective executive committee reports, I'm pretty light, but with Jeff and others, we have initiated conversations around TIF funding. For those of you who are not aware of TIF funding, but basically, and will you correct me when I get this wrong, but basically each neighborhood has essentially a bank account that is not our bank account, the city has it, but it is a sizable amount of funds that anybody, not just the community councils, but anybody can tap into when it comes to proposing a potential project with the claim of improving the community that the city can then approve and allocate funds for. So that could be us trying to do some rad parks project, or that could be a developer looking for $100 million. $100 million. We don't have that money. But and depending on how they argue their case, they could potentially say, oh, that is something that would improve the community, and they could approve it. So basically what we are doing is we are starting to gather minds between the council here, Pleasant Ridge Business Association, Pleasant Ridge Development Corporation, and doing more fact finding to better understand how we can best describe identify and describe what it is we want within the boundaries of what TIF funding is permitted. We are meeting tomorrow morning with folks to gather more information, so hence being lighter on details right now. But we hopefully are going to have folks in the city that can come and explain to us how to navigate that funding. There is an invitation for a design firm that has had put together community plans, which is one of the big things that we are investigating about revisiting our 2016 plan, which is wildly outdated. Our understanding is we cannot use funds directly to make said plan, but we can try to negotiate means around it to help move it forward. So hopefully we'll glean a lot more details tomorrow from that to start tapping into those funds. Yeah, I'll stop there on that one. So looking forward to reporting more on that. I had to vote for the Invested Neighborhoods Board of Directors. This is more of a procedural thing. That was just to add 2 members. It was only 2 people for 2 positions, so it was more of a formality, if anything. We're starting to re-engage some conversations with Invested Community Council, Invested Neighborhoods, to see what support they can offer for Pleasant Ridge. That's still just conversations unfolding. I signed off on the formal letter to have Douglas Terrace formally closed. That was authored and has been initiated by Jeff. I'm going to let him speak more to that, but he's got updates on that front. Met with communications to start, to increase our transition to, you guys have been doing wonderful as far as our weeklies and monthlies. So this conversation was more supporting a quarterly initiative. And so for anybody here that has any interesting pitches or stories or profiles that you'd like to share, Kelly and Avery are going to be the ones that will be fielding potential pieces to spotlight in our more magazine-esque quarterly newsletter. Still searching for an orchard lead, had a little back and forth conversation, but I'm going to try to follow up with someone for the Orchard Gateway. We got notice, and Jeff, actually, you replied to this one, that Janice Kearney is trying to take stock of potential youth councils across the city. And this has been something that we've had conversations with as a potential committee to initiate. And so knowing that there is interest at the top of council to have this, I'm putting a note out there to anybody that would be interested in potentially leading a type of youth committee or youth council on behalf of the Pleasant Ridge Community Council. And so if someone is interested in kind of serving as that point person, we're thinking about youths usually within the secondary teenage age. Granted, I know we have 3 elementary schools, but something that can help initiate greater voice for our youth. Because oftentimes I feel like teenagers are kind of at a loss when it comes to Pleasant Ridge. It's great for little kids, great to be an adult. Being a teen is hard enough in its own right. So if we can give them a little more voice and governance to try and help guide us, making their lives more engaging here in the Ridge, that'd be fun. And then, shout out to, last thing I got, shout out to the Kennedy Heights Winter Festival happening on December 1st at Kennedy Heights Arts Center. And so I haven't been to it before, so I'm looking forward to being at the tent this month. Okay, I'm handing off now to Jeff. I'm sure there are things I missed and we'll think about, and I'll take the mic away, but
Hey everybody, thank you to everybody who comes very regularly, but also I see a lot of new faces, so thank you for taking the time out to be a part of the meeting today. My name is Jeff Mason. I am the Vice President of the Community Council. I do have some updates. Some of that will be just having some clarity to some of the things President Andrew said. I do want to highlight that the Pleasant Ridge Business Association has a shop hop the same day as Luminaria, which we're going into. I believe it's the 7th annual one, so there'll be more information on Facebook, and we'll get the information out through our community channels. And so it's about shopping small in Pleasant Ridge, so they'll host booths inside of other businesses. So you can go get a beer at Nine Giant and also buy something from a local vendor, which is kind of a cool thing that our community does. On the Douglas Terrace closure, so I'm Josh Willman, who was in the last couple of meetings. He lives on Douglas Terrace. I happen to live on Douglas Terrace myself. I did not lead this in any way. Josh Willman took it upon himself to start working with the neighbors and got petitions signed in support of permanently closing Douglas Terrace. That has been temporarily closed for now 5 years. So it basically is a permanently closed street. It's something that past Pleasant Ridge Community Councils have supported for up to 10 years, according to all the information I can find. So we're just trying to get the city across the finish line on that, and some of that has to do with the TIF funds that President Andrew referred to. So you guys know TIF means tax increment financing funds. So what the way this works is Hamilton County leverages the property taxes, right? So there's a specific district within Pleasant Ridge where their increase in property taxes that money can only be used in Pleasant Ridge. So that started about 3 years ago. So we're starting to get some funds in. It's actually public knowledge. You can go look things up, and because you can go look it up on the website, we need to be talking with you about it. There's no decisions being made. We're trying to figure out what we can do. We know that there's already been $500 million allocated to something next year. We don't know what that is. They don't technically have to tell us because the city actually still holds the purse strings. So what we're trying to do is be proactive as a collaboration between the Development Corporation, the Business Association, and the Community Council, so that we can actually see the interests of our community happen before the interests of, let's say, developers. Does that make sense? It might be that if a developer's interest is good for our community, but that's something that we're going to help steer by getting ahead of it. Is that cool? Glad everybody gets it. So one of the things that we put in the approval letter is that we'd be willing to use some of those funds to actually make that permanent. So if you have ever been over to Rookwood Commons, there's several streets that when that was built in Hyde Park and Oakley that actually were just built out, and there's a community garden or just a green space or whatever. That's the kind of thing we want to see there. So that is something that we're doing. I talked about shop hop. Another thing of interest in our business district that we've talked about a little bit. There's still not much of an update, but 6100, which is the empty white building that used to be the jeweler. It's been in negotiation with the city because there's a right of way there that the city owns. That even though somehow the city owns that right of way, but somebody else owns the building that's on top of the right of way. They're working out a deal. They're waiting for the finalization of the grant funding before that could actually go through. So it still has not gone to council. So the update is nothing's really changed yet. Things are just moving slowly in the background. The last thing that I wanted to bring up was, what was your question?
I'm sorry. What does that mean? Like, do we as a community want to get rid of that building? I
Okay.
don't know what right away.
Yeah, so right of way, the city actually owns the property because of the roadway. There's a certain amount that the building is built on top of that technically the city owns. The family that owns the building wants to sell it. There are, between our development corporation and some private investors, they're trying to buy the building so we can actually make something of it. The building itself is not usable anymore. It has to be replaced. And so they're trying to work a deal so we can actually put something there that is good for the community.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Those details were in the last meeting, so that's a great question. The last thing that I was going to touch on, this is a purchase. I represented my family in this, but it does affect our community. Woodford Academy is being recommended to be changed from a magnet elementary school to a Montessori middle school that is 7th and 8th grade. Doesn't actually fit the Montessori model, but what Woodford offers, and the reason why they didn't change it is it's not at the capacity the state wants it to be at, but that's not taking into consideration that they have hearing impaired wings and autism wings. So those rooms cannot be filled with the same amount of students as a regular classroom. And so what's being proposed by the interim superintendent is that it becomes a junior high to feed into Clark, so that Clark could be less overwhelmed, but the same kind of way that Pleasant Ridge Montessori has been overwhelmed. In making that shift, anybody who's currently in the school would be recommended to go to Silverton Elementary, and the lines would be redrawn, meaning that Kennedy Heights would be pushed to Silverton and not anymore to Pleasant Ridge Montessori. That's a bigger issue, obviously, for Kennedy Heights residents, but it actually does create a shift for our community, as the local neighborhood school here is an elementary that is Montessori, and so the natural progression would be from PRM to Woodford Academy and then to Clark. Then that also doesn't fit within the Montessori model, and the other issue that runs into is they could lose their American Montessori credential. accreditation, which would be a pretty big loss for the city. I was at the community council, the school CPS meeting where one of the council, one of the board members spoke vehemently that we need a permanent superintendent before we start shifting schools around. But I just wanted to give you guys, this is where it's at. The ball is rolling though. They're taking, every week they're having meetings to get public opinion, and lots of public opinion is speaking out against it. The vast majority, however, it still seems to be like it's rolling in the direction that is being proposed. More to come once we know more.
Hello, my name is Michelle French. I am the secretary. We are working on really upgrading our calendaring system to get news out to all of you about what's going on in Pleasant Ridge, not just community council sponsored events, but also just things that are good for our community in order to foster building community and local engagement. So I have a sample calendar on the back of today's agenda. A couple things I wanted to highlight from some local organizations. The Pleasant Ridge Presbyterian Church has a rummage sale this weekend, and it's a great rummage sale, so I see some fans. Then on Monday, a little secret in Pleasant Ridge is that All Saints Episcopal Church has a Red Door Chamber Music Series. They regularly host concerts with some of the very best musicians in the city. The musicians really love it because it's a small, intimate venue with incredible acoustics. So this Monday is a string quartet, all professionals, raising money for music lessons for Norwood City School students. So fabulous thing to support. Remember Nativity's Christmas tree sale starts after Thanksgiving if you need a Christmas tree. And Pleasant Ridge Montessori's Handmade Market is the same day as the Shop Hop, but not at the same time. So strategically plan your shopping. It's a really fun sale. They have a huge room full of vendors like you see at City Fleet, and then there's a room full of children vendors who are PRM students. So it's really fun to see their creativity, and they get so excited when you buy something. So yeah, it's very fun. Lots happening on December 14th, so don't leave town.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessie Frank, and I'm the treasurer for PRCC. Wanted to bring up one new thing that we did at the end of October. Wonderful Michelle and I attended a financial management training with Invest in Neighborhoods. You heard Andrew talking about that. If you're not familiar with Invest in Neighborhoods, they are a group that works with the city council. They get a bunch of funding from the city of Cincinnati, and that's how we are able to get grant funding through the city. So think the council, Invest in Neighborhoods, us. So they get a bunch of resources from the city, and they basically manage that, and community councils can go to them and request different funding and get different trainings. So particularly at the end of October, Michelle and I went to a financial management training, which was a great refresher course, just to make sure we're doing all the things we should. We talked about fiduciary responsibilities, fund tracking, policies, required legal filings, and I'm very excited to say we are fully in compliance. We submit everything we need to, which is very exciting to say as treasurer that we are 100% in compliance. So one thing I do want to say, so we are a community council, and community councils came up through an ordinance through the city of Cincinnati. That's why they were originally created, but we are a full 501c3. So we are required to do legal filings with the IRS, with the state, not just with the city. So we are a full nonprofit and everything of what that means. So not just in the city, we expand out and have to be compliant with everybody. So it was a great session. We learned a lot. They did have some good suggestions on how to beef up some of our written policies. So we're gonna look into those for next year, as well as adding a conflict of interest policy, which currently is not in our bylaws, and we haven't run into those issues, but it's always good to get something written and put together before we ever run into that. So we'll dive into that over winter time. We're also looking ahead into 2025. Of course, it's the end of the year, so all of our committees are forecasting their ongoing expenses for next year. So all of the ongoing initiatives that we do around the community, coming up with those expenses, looking into our fundraisers, making sure everything's covered. So we'll have more information on that next month because we're going to be finalizing that at our executive meeting this month. All right, so those are the main treasure things. Any questions on those so far? Can answer them. All right. Well, I'd love to roll into our special items here. Jeff Cerrone. Oh, I see him back there. Great. I'm excited to welcome up Jeff Cerrone. He is leading our second fundraiser of the year, our Luminaria event, and is here to come and announce some awesome things with that. So welcome.
Thank you. Here I am to bring the light. You're all welcome. Saturday, December 14th, mark your calendars. We've just been talking about it, right? There is the craft thing at PRM, or selling crafty children, and then get a beer and go to the shop hop, and then
Get another beer.
let me tell you what's going to happen that night. It is our Luminaria Light Up the Ridge Festival celebration. So if you're new to the area and don't know what I'm talking about, a Luminaria is a paper bag that you put a lit fire candle into. Sounds dangerous, but it's really cool. And if you put enough of these out around the neighborhood, it actually looks amazing. It's like a winter wonderland. So we encourage everybody, as we said, this is a fundraiser. $20 gets you 12 of these beautiful lamps that you can put out. If you got a big yard, I would get 2 kits so you can get 24. If you have lazy neighbors, then I'd get 3 kits. Just extend it all the way out into the street. And then walk around. Get a beer, get a hot cup of cocoa or whatever you want, or drive. Don't drive with the drinks, but like drive around and see how great our neighborhood looks when it's all lit up like this. You can order these kits online. We've made it very, very easy. If we just go to the PRCC website, I believe we launched or opened it up.
Oh yeah.
When did we do that?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. And tell me, how many Luminaria kits have we sold already?
27 as of
27.
earlier today, so there could be more. You could be one of them.
This project was headed up by Denise, who is standing over there in the center. I have huge shoes to fill because she was so much better at this than I am. So I'm asking you for your help. Please, please, please get on that website and check us out. And yeah, you have until December 9th to get them. But you know, if we're gonna make extras and then probably sell more day of at community happens here. Did I do okay?
Great.
Oh man, this is the best part about it.
What?
There's more. Me and my kids will assemble them.
That is the best part.
And that's the best part. So good. And then we will deliver them. And if you're really, really into this idea, which I can see that you all are, we're accepting volunteers to help schlep these things around our great neighborhood of Pleasant Ridge. So volunteer signups will be on the PRCC website coming soon as well. If you see a sign, we've made these signs, we're going to be putting them up. Just don't steal them. That'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you. I also have a card reader tonight. If anybody is just so inclined that wants to get their Luminaria orders in right now, get the website today. I can help you with that. So just see me after the meeting. I also wanted to mention, so Jeff's heading up Luminaria and Barb Stein heads up our Ridge Day events. Those are our 2 big fundraisers each year for PRCC. So those help maintain our ongoing initiatives that we do within the neighborhood. But then the TIF funds, if you're around for the community budget requests, we're looking for money outside of Pleasant Ridge to bring in and funnel into our community as well. So we have these wonderful fundraisers that we get money in that way. We're also looking for money outside of it. We take donations. So we're trying to bring in as much money as possible into this community to do really big things. So thank you to everybody who's helping with those fundraisers. All right, second special item to knock out of the way. If you have an agenda, you'll see in the bottom right corner here, a non-discrimination policy. That is part of our PRCC bylaws. You can find the full bylaws on our community council page. If you scroll to the bottom, they're connected. There's an icon that you can pull up the full bylaws. But Specifically tonight, we're gonna vote on expanding our non-discrimination policies, specifically adding in the bolded and highlighted language that you see, nature of housing quarters. The reason why this is coming up is when I was talking about Invest in Neighborhoods and they have those grant opportunities for us, one of them that we use is called the NSP grant, a neighborhood support grant. So this year we got $7,400 from them, which is great. We'd like to continue getting money from them. And required for that, the city is requiring that for us to be eligible to apply for it next year, we need to expand our non-discrimination policy to include the nature of housing quarters language. So always good to expand those policies, get more things in there. So tonight, it's a vote. We need a majority of the people present to be able to pass this and adopt it into our bylaws. So if you haven't read that yet, I'll give you 5-6 seconds to take a peek. Bottom right corner. It's like two very long run-on sentences that have everything in there. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to amend the bylaw, specifically Article 15, to expand our non-discrimination policy to add the nature of housing quarters language within it. Yay, please raise your hands. I do have to count these, so if you hold them for just one moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 25, Michelle, if you write that
Why
down.
did it?
I counted you. No worries. Thank you for typing off that, but I count 25. Any nays? I count 0. All right. Well, it does pass. Thank you, everyone. We will get the bylaws. Oh, yes. Yay. We will get the bylaws updated on the website, but I will get these submitted with the city, so we are all good to apply for the grant fund next year. Like I said, we did get $7,400 this year through the grant. We do not have a finalized number on what's going to be available next year, but hopefully more. In 2023, it was almost $10,000, so they really knocked it down this year, and it all depends on what the city gives us. So we're hoping for an increase, but I'll let you know once we know more. So thank you for that.
Thank you all. That makes that process easier. Okay, continuing on with, we're now going right into community council committee reports. So let's start ahead with brand safety and block watch.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Brandon. I'm chair of the safety committee. Usually for the next couple of weeks, actually Officer Martin kind of stole my thunder, but the drum I usually bang is make sure you have control of all your key fobs and remove all your valuables from your cars. Those are the biggest driver of crime in our neighborhood. And it's not local to our neighborhood. This is as far as Dayton, suburbs, rural, urban. So it's kind of a nationwide phenomenon right now. Most of the time, if there's an auto theft, it's, as she said, someone left their key fob in their car, or as it starts to snow in the next couple of weeks, people will run into the gas station or run into the house or want to warm up their car and they leave their car running, and somebody just drives away with it. I think last year there was a contractor talking to a client and they were 20 feet away from their truck with all their equipment on it, and somebody just walked in and drove off with it. So definitely don't do that. And if you have a Hyundai or Kia, definitely call your dealer, try to get that fixed. It's very difficult these days to kind of hotwire a car. So that is kind of due to, I think if I read the last was a USB charging cable, so remove that from your car until you get that fixed. So don't leave valuables in your car, and make sure you have control of all your key fobs. If there's a key fob in your car actually won't lock, and then it just starts. They just get in and they don't even have to look for it. They just get in and hit the button, see what happens. So these are all kind of crimes of opportunity that we try to deter. We're just kind of walking on the street. Definitely report any suspicious behavior to 911 or to the non-emergency number as appropriate, as you feel appropriate. I know we love to kind of vent on Facebook and let our neighbors know on Facebook, but that really doesn't generate the data that we need for the city to allocate resources to our neighborhood. So when I go to city council and say, we've got all these people are reporting that somebody's walking down the street, checking door handles and all this stuff, the first thing they'll go to is CPD and their run sheet. They go, well, how many calls for service on this street between this crossing street did you have in the last 6 months? And almost always it's 0. And so they kind of look at us saying, well, we've got Avondale saying they have these issues, and here's this laundry list of stuff. Because those neighborhoods are very organized, and they call it, and they report everything. So it might not seem like it's being taken seriously in the moment, but rest assured, that's what we need to go to the leadership and say we need something to address these issues. So that's going to be sort of my refrain for the next couple of weeks. But I hope everybody has a pleasant and safe holiday season. We typically meet the Monday after the community council meeting, not this month because it's kind of a weird month, but not in January or July because we don't meet those months. And we'll meet 6:30 at Revolution Rotisserie by the first round. If you just want to come chat about the neighborhood. You have a question?
Yeah. What triggers them keeping any of those statistics? Just a call?
So I know that they'll keep track of the calls, and then if the officer is dispatched, they'll track that as well for the reason. I can probably ask Officer Martin for like the details of how that gets reported, but they kind of drive all those calls drive the stats that you see here, right? Especially if they verify like a crime has been committed, that's what ends up getting. So once they verify something happened, that's what ends up getting up here, right? So if they don't verify that something happened, we can at least say, well, we had 20 calls for service in the 3 months for someone walking down the street checking door handles, which has happened. And it's the same person, or they look roughly the same. So that's the part that probably doesn't get captured here because we can't verify that something happened. But we can say, okay, there's something going on. And oftentimes those folks will go to other neighborhoods. So, Officer Martin will link up with other neighborhood officers, and she's over a couple of neighborhoods in this area, and they'll compare notes and say what's I know that from a couple of years ago, the nail guy on was it Langer Farm.
Oh my God.
There was 3 different neighborhood liaison officers across our district, District 3, and another district, trying to work that in addition to the detectives. So there was like a whole thing going on with that one. So they do talk, they do compare notes, and they do check the metrics.
That person hit more than just Langdon Farm?
Well, Langdon Farm extends it like through Gulf Manor and District 3 and another. Well, I think that's in District 3, but I think they extended through another jurisdiction, had their own police force, and so they all have to kind of get together and figure out who the heck this guy was.
I know, he's the worst. And he spent money on that prank.
So if you'd like to check with me more, feel free to shoot me an email, safety.prcc@gmail.com. And yeah, let's see you out for a drink. Restaurant something.
Thank you, Brandon. I just realized I had 2 to replace tires on my car, and now I'm like, what's it?
Was there a nail in it?
It was a screw, and what they were like, you should do all of them. So like,
Oh,
of course.
yeah.
There we go.
You should just buy a new car.
Yeah. Pleasant Streets, Barb, and team. How's the leg, by the way?
Oh, it's fine. It's just when I'm sitting for a while and I get up, I have to loosen it up. I have a lot of metal in this leg. I'm Barb Peterson, and I'm part of our Pleasant Streets Committee, which is our traffic committee for the community. If you were at last month's meeting, you probably heard the traffic engineer from DOTD, the Department of Traffic Engineering, talking about the Ridge Road project for next year. It is primarily a repaving project. They have gotten about, I think, $1.5 million to do some safety improvements as well. We have a subgroup of our Pleasant Streets folks who put together a wonderful plan, which I am very glad now I never shared with the community because we're not going to be able to do nearly as much as we would like. But we are continuing to work with DOTD. We've provided feedback on the plans that they showed us for both sections of Ridge Road. So they're actually doing all of Ridge Road within the city, with Big Columbia Township not included in the middle of all That will continue to be a mess down there. There's nothing we can do about it. So we have certain plans for the south portion of Ridge, which is Montgomery to the railroad tracks. And then they gave us 6 options for the north side, which goes from Montgomery to Amberley. We actually put a questionnaire out to the community. We got about 300 responses back from people. I think it was a bit of a challenge. It was a little confusing. So we're going back and forth with the OTP right now. We have submitted some proposals to them for both sections of the road. We don't know what they're going to say. We've asked them to actually come back with some more ideas for the north part of the road because we don't really think that we got it right yet. But we are hoping to hear from them soon. They have not gotten back with us. I think we sent that out about 2 weeks ago. So one of our fellow members, Mackenzie Lowe, will be getting back in touch with them in the next few days if we don't hear from them. And we will continue to let you know as soon as we know more about what's going on. I have lived here for 37 years, and I don't think Ridge Road has been done in 20. It's been a really, really long time. So we are doing everything we can to build as much safety into this repaving project. And by safety and comfort. I walk a lot on Ridge, particularly in the north side. It is not a fun place to walk. It's kind of scary, actually. And we've had, you know all the problems. You know what the problems with the crosswalks in the schools. So we are working on all those things. We're hoping to get, be able to get make some progress and make it safer. It may not be everything that we want, but we're going to try to get as much as we can. We don't meet regularly. When we do, we usually meet by Zoom, and we usually only meet when we have things to talk about. So the next meeting will probably be one when we have some definitive stuff from DOTE and Michael Sheriff. And I always publicize that we have a Pleasant Streets page on Facebook. I always publicize it there. And you can certainly reach out to me. I'm all over that page, so I'm easy to find. I also track all the accidents in the community, accidents, crashes. People are kind of getting to know that. So if you see an accident, a crash, or you experience a pedestrian event or a cycling event, you can reach out to me on Facebook or tag me. And pictures are great if you can safely take them. I actually keep all of that stuff, and every year I put out a nice little report of pictures where I have them of all the crashes in the community. So, and I send it to City Council.
And
So,
to Brandon's point about the city collecting data, if you have a pedestrian close call,
yes,
you can report that on Cincy 311, and it does go into their data system.
it does. And please, anytime you have any kind of a pedestrian call, a cycling close call, if you observe something, that is, I report other people sometimes when I see somebody causing a problem. Yeah, do, because the only way, they look at the data. They are very data driven. And the thing we kept hearing from them about Ridge Road is, well, you don't have that many crashes here. It's only been this many. It's kind of like, yeah. So get that stuff in.
How far down on the north end of Ridge does Pleasant Ridge go? Like
Drawboy section or?
Oh, no.
Section.
Yeah, it's right, probably just south of Ridgewood.
Yeah.
So there's no opportunity to put in sidewalks to get to French Corner? Okay.
That's an Amberley Village thing. Yeah.
No.
It'd be so nice to walk to the car. Right.
It would be
very nice. Any other questions about any street safety issues you want? Any questions? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
If you like a little off-roading, you go down Kincaid all the way,
Yeah.
down the hill,
Yeah.
and then there's a blockade on the other side of section. There actually is a trailhead inland.
Yeah.
Cross.
That's fun. Okay, so beautification, we are still vacant, but we are starting to organize for next steps there as far as leadership. But we got Denise, the prior lead, says that she still wants to take on decorating the holiday decorations for the Rotunda, Pagoda, Round something thing. Hanging lights on that, and also would still like to coordinate the flowers for planting in the spring because they can get them at cost. But we still have a budget to consider as far as the vendor and services for next year. But we're trying to take advantage of the lull of season to organize so that when spring is blooming, so is our committee. Anything else on? No? Okay. Next is the compliment to parks. Quite a stroll.
All right, I don't really have much. We just finished off the year. There's a big article coming out in the quarterly, so I'm not going to go through all that, everything that's in there. I just want to say thanks to everybody for supporting everything we've done this year. We've done a lot. Thank you to the Pleasant Garden Club. They just gave us some great donations for next year. The Pocket Park. That's all I got. We have a lot. Oh, we do have a lot coming up next year. And a lot of that's in the quarterly. So just, if you like, read it. Yeah. I mean, if you like being outside, it's a great time to get outside with us. Very relaxed. Meet your neighbors. Talk to them. Realize it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I mean, it's a great place. That's it. That's all I got.
You should be a cheerleader.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Ridge Day. If you don't have anything, but okay. Either revel in last August party or start dreaming of the next one, I guess. Yeah. When should people start to anticipate you gearing up for planning?
We will probably have our first meeting in February. March at the latest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if anybody is interested in playing the biggest party that this neighborhood ever sees, then
Call me.
all right. Oh, Mark, there we go. Communications. Is this your first meeting updates?
Yeah, this is our first real meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. So for those who have not met, this is Kelly and Avery. This is our new communications team. So as you see, we call people up to the front. If you want to share updates of what you're working on,
I will try.
please do. Okay.
I've been chosen.
All right.
Hello, I'm Kelly. This is Avery. We are taking on the communications. Really been trying to spearhead weekly communications. So if you are not signed up for the email, you can go to our website and there's a sign up for our email newsletter. Put your email in, make sure you're subscribed. That's where you'll get our latest information. The quarterly, which you guys have heard about, that is coming out on Thursday. A lot of great stuff coming out there, so be sure to read. Other things, yeah, Michelle and I have been working on the calendar, trying to get those like front and center on our website, really trying to streamline those processes with all of the different great community that happens here, the library, all the things, get those in one place for us. Instagram and Facebook, if you guys are not following us, please follow us. You guys can go to the website, they're in the email. You guys can also probably find us by looking up Pleasant Ridge Community Council. So follow us there. And if you're interested in communications, please reach out and join us. comms.prcc@gmail.com. Please reach out and join us. I think that's everything. But yeah, glad to be here.
So wait, have you indeed done anything on Instagram?
I post stories, but I
Okay.
haven't posted any posts. So
All right.
stories are great. Stories are
The
good.
stories are
I'm
great.
less active on Facebook. I'm more active on Instagram, I'll say.
Okay.
So if anyone loves Facebook.
I wish I was better. Okay, awesome. Okay, gateways, Orchard is still open, Lucenaville. Okay, big shrug, Cypress.
Oh, that's me.
It is.
Just meeting with Eric next week to go over game plan for 2025 and what that looks like for the south portion of Pleasant Ridge.
Awesome. And Ridge. Okay. You know, it was interesting. I got a couple of requests asking if Halloween was going to be canceled because of the rain.
I was like, what's the point of power if we can't move Halloween when it's not raining? I'm like, how? We got Halloween.
We don't
I know. Why am I doing this if I can't move Halloween when I want it to be? Anyway,
No, but you know, when it, I mean, obviously, there's not a whole lot that can be done, but I think if, say, something made an event like that prohibitive, that is something where I think our gateways could potentially step up to think of something on a micro level to support some of the, you know, the walkability neighborhoods, that sort of thing. It's just an idea, yes. Pardon.
I was kind of thinking this year, because I was watching people driving pretty fast down my street, while trick-or-treating was going on. Could we maybe at every gateway shut down 1 or 2 streets on Halloween and make it visible?
But then that puts pressure on the others. Like it gets real hairy on Parkview because Bellwood shut down.
Yeah.
So like I saw a whole family almost get hit. It was really scary.
I think you shouldn't be allowed to drive on them.
Just stay home.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
or
if
by
I could
foot.
wave my magic wand, I would do that.
I'll just say that we moved here from Brooklyn last month and New York shuts down the streets all the time, so maybe it would be worth exploring because traffic's horrendous.
Yeah. I think there's potential.
Yeah. You know, you could do the city block thing, identify streets that have minimal driveways, so that way you can reduce the barrier of getting actual signatures to take that on. Obviously, then that's gonna have the least amount of houses on that street by doing that, but, I mean, it's something where if our gateway leads wanted to come together and talk about what that might look like procedurally with the city to formally have streets shut down, or try to come up with like trick-or-treat maps or hotspots or something like that, so that families can kind of not just go all willy-nilly, but have a kind of designated concentration that's, we know is safe, that we can try to like, not block traffic, but, control traffic in a certain way. So that's something that we on the executive board want to, I don't want to say outsource, but empower. The more localized efforts within the community for, a very on the ground moment such as trick-or-treating. But we extend that to block parties. We extend that to meet and greets with neighbors. We don't need to have just 1 or 2, rummage sales. We can have plenty of rummage sales about the neighborhood.
All on the same day.
So, there's no shortage of ideas. Please excuse the struggling of ideas I had at that moment. But, but we want to make sure that we can support you with the ideas that you generate. And if funding is part of it, then we can potentially tap into funds that are available if you guys articulate what those details are to us. And again, this is not just for the gateway leads. We want to see gateways just as populated as any other committees that are on the council as well. So with that, moving on, I do not see Gwen, our LSDMC rep for Pleasant Ridge Montessori. My understanding is that they are a full board, but I haven't heard anything since then. So my understanding is what Jeff pointed out is what potential restructuring of the districts, reorientation of schools, and who goes where is quite of the mind within the district. So while that may not immediately impact Pleasant Ridge, it will have the pathway of who goes to the middle school at that level. And then I do not see Ruth Ann for community happens here, unless she's hiding in her chair, which would be impossible because we'd have heard her by now. No, okay. And so with that, we're at our last item, which is a reading and approval of last month's minutes. So this is for October 1st, 2024. Oh wait, we have a question, yes.
Under the budget, was that budget request for 2025 or 2026?
This is for on the minutes.
Yes.
CBR.
Under yours.
Oh, so that was, yeah, that was just confirmation that we had submitted the CBR request.
2026?
Yes, yeah.
And should DOT be DOTE?
Probably yes.
Okay, yes, so those 2 notes.
Good call.
All right, so pending revision, and we'll post those 2 edits. Any other proposed edits to the minutes? Thank you, Denise. Okay, so pending those 2 edits, is there a motion to approve last meeting's minutes? There's one, a second, so seconds, all in favor of approving?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. Okay, so pending those 2 edits, last month's meetings meeting minutes as approved. We do typically open the floor for any public comment, any minutes. We do cap that at 2. We are at our hour, but I want to make sure that anybody who has an immediate quick concern is heard.
I just want to alert you, I think I caught a few of you. There's now a citywide effort. I'm by the way, I'm Dr. Schaefer, I'm a retired life sciences researcher, and I've intensely investigated this. All right, we've had a lot of problems with the bow hunting in our city parks. And we've had too many of these. This was right here by the Nativity School. I have pictures so graphic I wouldn't dare show you. We have offered free EPA approved birth control if we need it. But here's the thing, because they've been completely uncooperative, we got it stopped before it went into the Clifton parks. They put in birth control, the population stabilized and reduced. They have not stabilized and reduced where they can do bow hunting. So basically what happens is we have a official city petition drive underway. We need 10,000 signatures to get it on the ballot. I will be starting to go around to community councils to give a brief PowerPoint. We can do better, and we can live better and coexist without dealing with what people around those parks are having to deal with. We have the horror stories, we have the safety issues. One doe, suffering deer with that deer on her back, ran out in the middle of the street there on the west side, and people have had it. So, and too much has been covered up and too much has been falsified. I did an extensive open records request. Everything we said, we can prove. So I just want to alert you, you'll be hearing more about this. It'll be coming out. We'll be talking to reporters to get more in the papers and stuff. But none of this should have ever started out the way it did, but that's another thing. And people need to decide what they want for the animals in their community. They're part of your community. We should have been asked about all this in the very beginning. And that's what ODNR, the state, recommends that we do. It was never done. We were never permitted to do so. In fact, some of the councils and the residents were never even informed and were horrified when they found out about it. So you'll be hearing more. I'm just trying to alert you. We're just starting the campaign. And it's going to be a lot of work. 10,000 signatures of registered city voters is going to be a tremendous challenge.
Thank you, Dr. Wow. Perfect. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Schaefer. Okay. Well done. Okay. Last call on any public comment? Yes.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but from last meeting, there was maybe like a subcommittee possibility for researching other funds.
Yeah.
What was, I can't remember specifically what that was, and then how to potentially get involved with that.
If you want to.
Come on up.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even call it a subcommittee, I would just call it, so this is something that we've
I
been.
couldn't remember the exact details of what.
Yeah, no, so, as part of our role, we can start committees as needed and we can also close committees as needed, but we have noticed that, we've been up late writing grants. We turned the CBRs with the grant that we wrote for the pocket park, navigating, there are more opportunity for funds than we have bandwidth to execute, let alone all the other things that we're trying to structure. So we are trying to initiate a committee that will work in tandem with, say, the treasurer and other committees as their needs are identified to look for potential funding sources. And obviously there's plenty of city funds that we can tap into, but like I said at the beginning, we're not limited to that. We are our own 501c3. And so we are part of a network of other community councils, but we operate independently. We have support mechanisms, but having a dedicated committee to identify, articulate, and then recommend how to pursue potential grants and potentially take the lead on writing whatever, if it's an application or if it is a formal grant proposal. Just having someone to step up with that maybe would be incredibly helpful. It would unlock a lot of doors for us. It would open up some of our bandwidth to execute on some of the things that we're pursuing if we know that we have a team that's there just identifying and looking for resources. So if you have experience in development, grant writing, or looking for different funding sources, no, you don't have to. This is a volunteer service.
Please, we welcome you. No experience necessary.
Really
And you
no
Google.
experience necessary.
Interest is all you need.
You know, I mean,
We're all self-taught.
we're all,
That's very true.
I mean, part of it is, you know, learning where the opportunities are presented. Obviously, the federal landscape is going to be changing dramatically come January, but we don't typically pursue federal funds anyway. We are impacted by federal funds typically in a traffic type of situation. But when it comes to these more hyper-localized, what's kind of nice is that you work with community foundations, or local family foundations, work with city partners. Every now and then we can take a swing at a state grant, like a Ohio EPA can be a good one. But like Keeps Society Beautiful will do grant requests as well. So, and they do a good job of kind of coaching and facilitating. So if you have the time and wherewithal, and I'm looking at you, but this is for everybody, you know, we can support you in launching that. Sorry, what? Okay. So anyway, we can talk offline on that one, but yeah.
And Jesse found, right, just different.
I started taking the private route, just seeing like Fifth Third Bank is a great place
Right.
here. They have a ton of grants. Started taking the private route. I work at a bank, so I started looking into the banking because I know they have a really big like cyber grants websites they all work through that have like somewhere between $20,000-$25,000 grants for specific purposes, but we have great things in the community that can fill those. So they are, you know, an application process to try to get it. But that was the direction I was going, knowing that we're taking some city funds right now. I was like, all right, what else can we start digging into? So love to chat with you. Find more money for this place, because that's the goal. The more money we can bring in, the more we can do. Because fundraising is great, but we want big things to happen here, so we need big money.
Right.
To go have you along.
Yeah, I was just looking back from our past exec meeting, you know, obviously, I would invite whoever would be a part of this to say the TIF meeting tomorrow to understand how to navigate those resources. You know, from our past meeting, gift cards, raffles, and soliciting, you know, getting gift cards from businesses as a potential raffle resource. Doing, or like going to Chipotle and how they do one of those nights off, like, hey, 10% of all purchases go to X. You know, if we were to articulate, hey, we have Rich Day coming up, it does this for our community, can we do a night where, and like having the resources. So it's not just pursuing grants, it's really being creative with those types of pursuits. So, but yeah, I think really tapping into underutilized pools of funds, particularly in the private sector, would be a really great effort. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, last call. All right, with that, is there a motion to adjourn tonight's monthly meeting? Denise, is there a second? Thank you, Eric. All in favor of going home, or you don't have to go, but you can't stay here. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hey, all right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Sorry.